putting magic medicine in our veins. Oh!
You'll go to the basement, and then you'll come up an hour later.
So that means when I come home, you make me a sandwich.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Welcome back to
Buckle up, baby.
Say It to the New Cam. Close up on that
The
guy.
mic
Sexy
cam.
boy. We are back with no guest today, Michael. It's
Jeez.
just me and you
Yeah,
catching up.
yeah.
What do we do now?
It's like I said before. It's like a couple who doesn't get along, so they have guests for meals.
Thank you for coming. Thank you so much. You know,
The dishes aren't done.
well, you had to say that. A lot of kicks under the table.
Yeah,
You
but it's good to see you again.
Yes, you too. You know when you make a comment in front of the wife, in front of people, and no one notices, but you know you fucked up?
Oh, sure.
It happens like this. Like if she's sitting there and you're like, yeah. You're like, she'll do it like a quick stab, you know, like. Anyway, it's good to see you again, Michael. How is your summer going?
It's nice. How's yours?
It's good.
It's almost done.
This is the very first summer I've had in a decade. And by that, I mean, I visited during the summers, but that's a very, very different energy than when you have summer as compared to coming out of a winter and a spring, and having that summer East Coast energy is it's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that exists in Los Angeles. There is no urgency in Los Angeles for summer activities, summer vibe, whatever, because it's the same temperature all year round, pretty much within a matter of degree. It's not much different. Outdoor activities are constant. And on the East Coast, you get this sense of you've entered the 8 weeks, make something of it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's nice.
Yeah, I've never loved the summer.
Why?
You know that song "Summertime Sadness"? I don't know. It's always there's like a pressure I don't appreciate.
What I just described?
I like the fall and winter much more than the summer. My favorite day of the year is the first day it gets dark at 4 p.m.
You know, I would agree with you, and I do love that, but I don't know if I love that from a place of nostalgia or from a place of my current self. Because you know how, like, as you age, you're like, you know, I don't like that anymore.
I hear that.
And I've gotten spoiled by LA, but you begin to, I don't know, like, discover your new refined tastes as an adult, or just updated tastes.
Right.
I love that. I know that feeling, but then I was in it this past year, and I was like, God, I'm depressed. And you're like, I like the sadness.
Yeah, no, yeah, I know. I don't like the sadness. I like the feeling that I think there's
It's cozy.
The year is only like 2 months long as far as like work goes. There's only like a 2-month period without a holiday or vacation or some kind of like expectation where you can actually like get into some kind of rhythm and work. And that's from like
post-holiday Christmas.
it's Thanksgiving to Christmas, and then like New Year's to like March.
It's definitely the thick of it.
I like being in the thick of it.
I do like
the
that.
most
It
part.
just comes at a cost now to me that maybe I'm not used to it, so I've gotten soft. But this year, like, the deadness, the grayness, the which I know is what you're describing, which helps you sort of focus and turn inward and get and improve. It's kind of unpleasant too. More than it used to be.
Fair. Yeah, no. And I dislike the summer. The truth is, you're right. That's like, what do they call like the appendix, like an organ you don't need anymore? Like I used to get really sad in the summer. The truth is not anymore.
And
I don't hate it as much as I used to.
maybe as a parent, maybe parenting shifts it, because now it's like barbecues, pool, family, hanging, weekends, that energy, beach, whatever. Like, there's something about that mood improvement that I appreciate now. Whereas back in the day in adolescence, I'm like, it's like winter and dark, and I kind of love it.
Yeah.
There's something I don't miss about that anymore, or I appreciated it then, and I don't know. I like warmer clothes. I don't like putting on a polo. It shows too much of the man boob. A hoodie.
I like layers.
I like layers. So I hear that, but I don't know. I feel like I'm over it a little bit. And now, like, sitting outside on a nice warm day, and not the ridiculous hot sweaty where your back of your legs sweat humid.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Fair enough.
And for music and outings and festivals, and like,
Mhm.
like there's just an energy I appreciate. And I think maybe it's a post-pandemic thing
Yeah.
too.
It's also if I had a more stable work life, I think
Mhm.
I'd appreciate the summer more. It's like another. It's like it's everything's sort of the same to me at this point. Also, a little bit of like I have this constant frustration, just constantly.
Mm.
So like it's hard for me to truly enjoy anything.
Oh, nice.
That's probably the truth.
Sound like you're in
right
a
now.
great place.
No, it's not.
I know what you're saying. There's
It's not
PTSD.
depressing. It's just where I am right now.
Is there a PTSD from like the feeling of summer being like this? Like internship button down doesn't fit. I'm hot. I'm lost.
No, it's I think it's more it's post college like dating time,
Mm.
like early 20s to late 20s of like I know I'm supposed to be having fun now and there's like so little I that I think is fun
Ah.
and like yeah, there was this like yeah, I'd have to really like dig
Well,
into it.
first of all, you're in your mid 30s now, so it's time to move on from that
No, true.
trauma.
No, that's true.
But you're saying you didn't like the idea of like, don't tell me when I'm supposed to enjoy myself at
Oh,
peak.
No, cause being
Because in winter you're supposed to be miserable,
Yeah.
and that's when you don't have pressure. So you can
yeah,
enjoy
being
it.
unhappy living in New York City is awful.
Explain
Like
that to
you
me.
feel like you just feel you sitting in your apartment on Memorial Day weekend without plans. The city empties out, and it just feels like you're the only person on earth without good plans. This was even like before like Instagram like really blew up. Like,
Ooh,
but that
singing a song from
shit is
Sex and the City.
depressing. Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, you know,
where
you,
was your
you-
family?
You bypassed that. I didn't want to be with my
I
family.
get it.
You know, you bypassed that because you got married at 16, 17. But no, but being like single in the city on a holiday weekend
was 23.
could be bad. Could be real bad.
Right.
That's like and then like you go to work and you come home and you're like, it's the summer, I should go out, but I don't feel like it. It's just
the
all
spiral.
This,
The spiral.
it's a spiral. Yeah.
And you know what? When it's dark at 4:30, you're like, I don't have to go out. No one does. It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
I can just
yeah.
sit here and chill, and it doesn't
Yeah.
feel lonesome or lone or like longer.
Right. I should mention I was also clinically depressed probably without
Right.
medication for like there are like 2 summers I can think of that were like the worst parts of my life.
Why didn't you call me
Where were you? Where were you?
in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I don't know. I know when you're depressed you don't
It
call
was-
anyone.
that-
That's the thing about depressed people. People who were like, "Oh, this guy's so depressed. I just spoke to him and he was like telling me he's depressed." I'm like, if that dude was like depressed, he's not like telling you he's depressed and he's not
Correct.
talking to you.
It has
The real
become
depressed
a
people you're not hearing from.
yeah. I will attest to the fetishization
Mm-hmm.
of mental illness,
Yeah.
which has happened now. It's gone from the hush hush stigma of it to everybody's depressed.
Yeah.
Isn't that fun? I
Yeah.
have anxiety. Whee! It's like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
If you had anxiety, you couldn't make a video.
Right.
You'd be pacing around your room with your heart pounding,
Right.
calling a doctor.
Right.
Like there's this like, Lou, I'm so cool. I'm so unique. It's like I have mental illness and that makes me special and I'm dark and I'm deep. And there is a little bit of that, which is an overcorrection maybe for not being able to admit that this is a real thing.
Right.
So I have seen that. It's probably worth the fact that people can feel open to talk about it. But yes,
No,
people misuse the
right.
word. I think depression's a misnomer because depression isn't just like down.
Yeah.
It's like a real. It's like saying, "Oh, I'm forgetful." Oh, you're an amnesiac.
Right.
Oh, I'm just forgetful. Oh, you're an amnesiac. Yeah, I'm an amnesiac too. It's like no, an amnesiac can't remember
Right.
anything. They are like so depressed people. A true clinical depressed isn't sad. They're numb.
Right. When I'm talking about depressed, I mean like I'm forgetful. Like I need to write my name on my leg. Like I mean like I was not showering, underperforming at work, not dating, like fucking depressed.
Right.
That and being depressed in the summer is in the city is bad.
Right.
That's bad.
Fun.
How's your summer?
So I love the summer. Sorry. I didn't expect to
No, you
go
like
down
it.
that deep, dark post-traumatic stress rabbit hole, but
Yeah.
how are you now?
I'm great.
You'll start
Thank
to
God.
your perceptions of summer will change now
God.
that you are now married with 2 children.
Right. The kids actually is a whole different dimension
Mhm.
that I frankly do not enjoy. Like keeping the kids busy in the summer
Oh yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
like it's hard for me to find the joy in that. Do you?
Yeah.
Do you on like whatever?
Is this loose?
No, it's good. I just have to stop.
Do
playing
I
with
find?
it.
What's the question? Do I
Like
find?
Sunday morning without plans, and the kids are running around the house? Can you find like joy in that? Maybe yours are a little older.
It's hard to compare like really little to like mid little, you know. But at the same time, I'm no saint where I don't get aggravated, frustrated, and all of these things. But I just know I'm constantly reminding myself how much I'm gonna miss all this,
Right.
all of it,
That's nice.
all of it. They're adorable. I saw this video on TikTok that came across my feed, and it was some Scottish guy. I think he was like a famous director, actor, somebody. But he was like, "People ask me all the time, do you mind changing their nappies?" I guess that's Scottish for diaper.
Mm-hmm.
It's a delight. I love changing their nappies, making them comfortable, making them better. There's nothing more delightful than that. Everyone's talking about children and what they drag on your life and bringing you down. It's the most delightful thing in the world. It's the greatest thing you'll ever do. Don't let anybody tell you different. It's absolutely joyful and delightful. And he's saying it with like this aggressive passion. And I'm like, it is absolutely delightful and joyful. And I try to remember that when they're older and don't need me anymore in the same way. And I'm like, yeah, is this the worst? Worst case scenario is we're a little bored on a Sunday with a bunch of adorable. I mean, I'm painting a rosy picture.
Yeah.
But yes, I say that as a mindset as an antidote to that stress of like, ugh. And I am also coming from LA, where imagine being there and having no one,
No help.
family wise, no help, no family, no cousins. It's like we better make plans with friends now.
Right.
And friends sometimes aren't always available, and you can't just like show up at their house. You could show up at grandparents and just do it. You could, or cousin. It's like it's much more informal.
Yeah.
But with friends, you also have to like mind your space and boundaries and make sure you maintain that. But every Sunday, every day off, every free time when we lived in LA for the last decade with kids was like, what do we do? And here it's like we could just be. Go play in the yard. Whatever, it's like it's not that big a deal. But I'm not saying I'm not stressed about it.
The only person I guess who stresses me because the kids are happy.
Yeah.
They're not bored.
So what are you stressed? What's bothering you?
I don't know. There's this like there's this general sense of like if like things are getting destroyed, like someone's gonna get hurt. Like I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
Are
what
they
it is.
getting hurt and destroyed?
No. It's
Oh, so
in
this
my
isn't
head.
you.
It's in my head.
So nothing's going on. They're just chilling.
It's also that feeling where like I don't sleep well, and then like I'm up at 6 a.m. and then I think to myself like I don't know how I'm gonna get through the next like 2 hours, and then the next thought is like I have to get through like 12 hours.
You know,
I don't know how I'm gonna do this today.
I've noticed this since you became a parent.
Yeah.
You focus very much on like the mountain and not the step in front of you when it comes to like your day or your parenting. You're like, how am I gonna get through? How am I gonna kill this whole afternoon? It's like you don't have to kill this whole afternoon. Just like go somewhere for an hour, and then you have another hour and do something else. Then put on a little show. Then they'll color. You need to get to 5 p.m. 5:30. We're all as parents trying to get. This has become a mommy vlog. This whole podcast. Moms, dads, parents. We're all trying to get to 5:30, the promised land, right? And everybody understands that when you call somebody or like want to go to the park and do this. So like you're trying to kill 1 hour, then another hour. It's like the days are in sections. You're like you got your early morning slot.
Yeah.
You got your mid-morning, lunch, afternoon, something. It's like you basically need 2 outings, the mid-morning, and the mid-afternoon. Because once you get back from the mid-morning, it's your lunchtime and chill time. And then you need to come back from somewhere in the mid-afternoon so that you can roll into dinner and you've had some kind of thing.
Yeah. I think it's
it's not much. Yeah. And my advice to you is if you really feel like the angst, what Rosie and I do with kids often if we have no plans is we just get in the car and drive away with no kids. No, we just get in the car with all the kids.
Yeah.
And because it's like trying to pick a movie with friends. You're like, what should we watch? And you spend 2 hours not watching a movie. So as opposed to that one kid who's like, I put something on. What are we watching? What is this? Oh, what is this? And you just start watching the movie. So it's like fitness, working out, like put your shoes out. Like we just get in the car with all the kids, start driving. And then as we're driving, one of us, Rosie will say like, well, why don't we go there? Oh, good. And I just say yes to everything. Why don't we just do this? Because you're in the car, you're in motion, and then something comes up. And then even if it doesn't seem like the the biggest outing or biggest deal, then you're there, and then you come back. You're like, that was
Yeah.
fine.
So
don't
what
put so much pressure on yourself.
what do you do on a Shabbos, on a Saturday, where you're not getting in a car and you're just like the day? It feels like the day really is just ahead of you.
Yeah,
you're
the
right.
Shabbos
Just
is
pick
hard.
stupid little
you guys
things.
maybe make some T-neck friends and go hang out.
Perhaps making a friend or two.
Remember we
would
talked
help.
about this too. The hardest part about it is like not having not sharing your experience with other
Right.
people.
Part of it also is like
You need like-minded people in the same boat as you,
Right.
so that you could like pair up for the afternoon and just
Right.
have the kids go like here.
Yeah.
So that helps. Like a nice long lunch
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah.
You know,
It's probably. I think most of it's in my head. I don't think it's a real problem.
it's not a
It's
real
an
problem.
Attitude, it's an attitude problem.
Yeah, and also like being part of a community and
Yeah.
part of a shul synagogue with younger people that have kids, whatever.
Yeah.
That's how it happens. It's like you do need that.
Right.
You need those sectioned off, like compartmentalized parts of the day to get you to dinner.
Yeah. But then even going out is like, I'm afraid eating's not going to go well and napping's not going to go well. It's a real issue I have.
Your neuroses.
Yeah, it is.
Your parenting
It's,
neuroses.
yeah.
And how does the wife feel about this?
She's great. I
She's
mean,
chill.
she's the antidote. Yeah, she's great.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So you got to get out of it in your own head. It's
Yeah.
all fine.
Yeah.
Also, like kids can be bored. They can be unhappy
Yeah.
for a little bit, not suffer. But like childhood is full of that.
Right.
Rolling with it, learning how to
Yeah.
be adaptable, learning how to be resilient.
Yeah.
You go to a parent, remember like family friends growing up? You're like, what am I doing here now?
Yeah.
And you're just like, this is where we are.
Right.
Find something. Back in the 90s, your parents just
What
take
are we
you.
doing here?
You know, you meet like, and all of a sudden my parents just know these people I've never met because
Right.
now I realize, oh, they had friends before we were born.
Right.
It's like, we're going to Great Neck.
Right.
It's like, what?
Yeah. It's like-
Why?
yeah.
Who's there?
like
I've never been to Great
You'll-
Neck. And
you'll
then you're
go to
there.
the basement.
Yeah.
And then you'll come up an hour later.
Correct. And a lot of childhood, eventually, you start to see like you have to figure out things for yourself, and not everything you can put in front of you. You totally know what I mean.
A friend of mine told me this this story where when he was like a little boy, he woke up and there was just a man sleeping in his briefs in the room with him. His parents had set up like a cot in his room, and I guess this was like in the 90s.
This is the 90s.
But they're like, he's like, who is this man? They're like, he's our friend. He's sleeping here tonight.
In
He's
his
sleeping
room.
in your room.
That is
And
so.
he just slept with this, like, behind a locked door with this man all night. But that was kind of the attitude of like, this is what we're doing
That's
now,
an
and you'll adjust.
It's an extreme example to put a strange man in with your child, but it's like, yeah, oh, that's Fred from college. He's sleeping. He went to school with Daddy. Now
Right.
he's sleeping in your bedroom.
Yeah.
But like the kids didn't come first back in the day, and in a healthy way.
It's like, we're driving to Washington, D.C. It's going to be 5 hours. Here's a toy. We'll stop at some point.
So maybe we become too hyper fixated on the kids dictating
Well-
every ounce and every minute of every schedule.
What I realized about Cocomelon this week also, this
Yes.
is real in the weeds, but
Cocomelon!
Cocomelon is designed, it's a $1 billion company designed to keep kids entertained second to second, which is what you're supposed to be bored sometimes, especially if someone was just telling you a story and the wiring in your brain never got like fused to be like, the second I get bored, I'm just going to walk away from this person. Like, you're supposed to be bored sometimes when you watch things. And it can't be good for a kid's brain to just be constantly entertained.
That's why the Sabbath is healthy for that, because it makes you have to like think of things to do.
Right.
I have an idea for a Cocomelon spoof. One of my big comedic goals and endeavors creatively is to create parody content of all of these kid shows for the parents.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of I'm going to create Coco Fucker or I'm going to create a parent organization called Doo Doo Pish.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to create all these shows like Blippy's brother. I told you about Bloppy, right?
Yeah.
So much to learn about. It'll make you want to shout. I want to just check the recording. Bloppy, where he's like, you know what Blippy is, right?
I know it because of you.
Yeah, so Blippy goes to like these kids' playgrounds. It's a show filmed on a handheld iPhone. He's like, we're at the playground. I love trucks. So I want to have him go to Skid Row. I'm Bloppy. This is Skid Row. We're putting magic medicine in our veins. Oh! Or like Cocomelon, which is going to be songs, but it's the parents singing to each other. I just want to get laid. Can we put the kids to bed? I'm tired. Nah ha ha ha. I think it would be really, really. I think it would give parents so like, oh,
Yeah.
like, can we put the kids to bed early? No, I spent all day cleaning the house, so I'm just gonna go to bed. Bum bum.
So what's stopping you?
what's stopping me is execution, like how to animate and do all that. I would just have to grab an episode for now and overdub it. I'd have to record the music. It's a bigger thing than just an iPhone up like this. But I have it written down.
Yeah.
When I have the right resources, time, whatever, I'll make one, and I would love to get it originally animated, and I could make the music. Glung, 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 dun, dun, dun. Like, why did you say that when our friends were over? You know I hate when you do that shit.
This is a transition to a real topic. for the ideas that you know are good.
Yes.
How do you prioritize something like that comes into your mind? Because I think of someone like Jeremy Redleaf, who is one of the creators of Cave Day. Do you know him? You know him, I think, personally.
Sure.
You know, like his wife. But I find he's very good at
big projects.
Just taking an idea that's an obviously good idea that, you know, every creative person has, but not just going on, that would be good. But he actually pursues it, and they actually become obviously successful things. And I've been inspired by him to try to do that with my own things. But this is a good idea. You're able to do it. You're uniquely able to do it because you can compose the music.
Yeah.
Like, why not pursue that?
Tis a good question. There's only so much bandwidth and time in the day. So right now I've written down all my long form, higher production endeavors on a list. And every time I get a longer form concept that I see in my head is like I wanted to make Chipped, a spoof on Chopped. You ever watch Chopped on Food Network?
I know.
It was big for a time, but at the time I thought of the show Chipped, where it was going to be like literally a guy he's like freaking out and he doesn't know what to do, so he takes a dump on the plate and serves it. And they're like, and some of the judges are like, I actually love how you transformed the ingredients. You ingested it and shed it on my plate. You know what you did with the shit, the spice. See, it tickles me.
Yeah,
I think it would be a great show. But in order for me to execute that really well, I couldn't just green screen it on my iPhone. I'd want to like film it. And like do it right with me, you know, and also like Shark Tank. I had an idea for Gary Vee on Shark Tank, which I could do in the guerrilla raw form. Yeah, it was like I'm offering you 0.00005% in my NFT, like for like $1 billion valuation, and like they do the Shark Tank thing to an NFT.
Yeah.
So I have these bigger ideas, but my comedic vision for them would take location.
Yeah.
All of those things. So I've written them down. And when the bandwidth allows for it, it's not a matter of like when to do it. It's just there. So I want to preserve the ideas. Bloppy, doo-doo pish, all that stuff.
TikTok seems to me like what I love about the TikTok aesthetic is a lot of the really successful people take these things that used to just be ideas you throw around with friends, then they shoot it just wearing different hats.
Yeah.
They do it really, really low budget because that's the TikTok aesthetic.
Yeah.
And they come out with this really funny sketch, which like at the end of the day, that might be all it is, just a funny sketch, not a series. You know?
Right. I mean, to answer your question, I save those ideas for the time when Patreon or some kind of fan funding is in motion. And that's my pitch to fans and supporters. Hey, there's so much more I can do.
Right.
If I had regular support that I could funding that I could put into these projects to scale them on a larger degree. So I'm using all the micro content I do as a way to build the audience and hopefully transform that audience into something that's supporting me financially, that I could pour resources of that and reinvest and do those things. So I save all those ideas for like the bigger budget stuff. Cool. Because I could put out little micro pieces of content in a raw form, but I'd want to do it right. It's just like some projects demand a different kind of production.
You sound like me.
Do I?
Yeah. What would Ami say to that?
What?
You're not going to get people to pay for it until you do it.
No, but I'm doing. I hear you,
but good.
But the stuff I do does work. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So stay tuned for Doo-Doo Pish. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not holding back. I'm not like, it needs to be the right time.
Yeah.
I just wrote them down.
So many hours in a day.
I think that's also, I'm busy. Thank God.
Yeah.
Anyway, you've been following this guy online. We'll shift gears for a second because I wanted to run this by you. Have you been seeing clips of Andrew Tate?
No. I saw you do a thing of him, the bald guy with a beard and glasses.
Yeah. This guy's fascinating.
What is he?
I saw a clip of him years ago. Andrew Tate is a 4-time world kickboxing champion.
Kickboxing is still a thing people do?
internationally. It's not an American thing that people know about, but there's a niche for everything. There's chess tournaments around the world. There's kickboxing.
Yeah.
It's not a huge moneymaker, I don't think. But that was his sort of claim initially to like the world stage. He wasn't like famous from it, but he got some notoriety. But he started making headlines years ago when he talked about how depression isn't real. That's why we were bringing up depression. He was saying it's a myth. It's a mindset. He's got one of the weirdest accents ever because he like lived in America, then England, and now Romania. So it's like he's like status, women. It's a mixed British, but it's very strange accent. But now he's out there all over the internet, and he had like this mission. I'm going to become the most famous person on the internet. Internet. I can't speak like internet. Testicular. He can't say his T's in the middle. But he's now like the #1 most Googled guy. And I don't know if it's brilliant or crazy, but he was like making rounds on like Tom Segura and On Your Mom's House with Tom Segura and Christina. He was on that podcast, and he says controversial things, putting down women, not like in a beat, masculinity is important, but like women can't drive, women are, she's my property, I own her. And that's why I'm going to treat her with respect. If I own something and I value it, a high value woman, I'm going to treat her with respect. There's nothing wrong with owning a woman. Like, says really out there stuff.
Why do people have him on? Like, why? He sounds so transparent.
Yeah, I know. It's shtick. It is. And there's something very obvious about it. Like when you see him, he's like, whatever. I got loads of bitches in my life. Loads of bitches. But he's also like, I'm a man of God. Right. I read the Bible.
Who's
the fact that so many people in the West don't understand this. It's why so many men,
So he's just taking like the best of the internet personalities. Jordan Peterson, that Tanzarian dude Bill Zarian, who's the rip dude who just travels with like a cache of women. Like he works out and travels with women professionally. Whatever. I think it's Balzarian. I think that's his name.
Okay. Yes, Dan Balzarian.
Yeah,
He's just
yeah.
I had sex 9 times in one day. I don't know why I did, but I did, and I wanted to see if I could do it, and I did it.
Yeah, that guy.
With the chin
Jordan
of a
Peterson,
god.
Yeah, like amazing hair, amazing
You're right.
beard. Joe Rogan. He's just like, what if I just put them all together?
Exactly what if I put the biggest, most controversial elements and misrepresentations of all these people into one person and became that being? It's sort of what he's done.
Yeah.
And it's working because people are like, can you believe this guy? And he's like, just saying like, would you ever let a woman drive your car? Every accident I've ever been a part of in my life, a woman was driving the car. I would never let a woman in my car. Never.
What's
you should see
what's amazing about that? Like, only me, who's never seen him, like, people who are talented at doing that, once you see them and hear them speak, you're done. You can't see through the charade anymore because they're that good. Trump is the same way. If you just read about Trump, you're like, this is a joke. Once he gets in front of a mic at a crowd, you're like, oh, like they're so good at drawing you in. You have to remain completely like ignorant of hearing and seeing them to like even see through the facade.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
100%.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm hearing. Meaning, once you see it, you're captured a little.
Yeah,
like
because he's good at what he does.
He is definitely good. I only in the sense he's good at what he does because he is in front of everybody and no one can get him off their feed. And the backstory is, you'll like this. He started an online sales course called Hustlers University for alpha males. You want to be an alpha male? I started Hustlers University. I started this university for men because men are being suffocated out of their masculinity and we want to be a high status man. So I started Hustlers University, and it's basically, I guess, how to be a hustler and a man and have status, but the way it works, I'm saying that's the premise of it. I don't know because I haven't signed up. But from what I understand, every attendee, one of the assignments in the course is posting videos of Andrew Tate online.
That's brilliant.
So he's like, I'm the single most #1 search person on TikTok. I don't even have my own TikTok account. Ik-ok, because he can't say T's. Ik-ok. I'm on Ik-ok. So he's all over TikTok. And they're all from different accounts, right? So I was like, so I think that's one of his things. He gets all these people who sign up for the course to share videos of him and clip him.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden he's everywhere. And here's the funny thing.
What a con man.
Here's the funny thing. On my profile, every time I post impressions, there'd always be a comment for the last like 6 months. Can you do Andrew Tate? And I'm like, what?
Huh.
Before I kind of knew who he was, only because I like sometimes weird on Twitter and find weird things. But I'm like, Andrew Tate? Who would know an Andrew Tate? Whatever. I mean, whatever. He's like, can you do Andrew Tate? And it always, you know, when something has the flavor of bot,
Yeah.
you're like,
Oh.
it's just the way it was said
Yeah.
was not human. Like when you get those WhatsApps, it's like, hey, do I have your number?
Yeah.
You're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
bot.
yeah,
You could just smell it.
yeah.
And so every time, can you do Andrew Tate? Please do Andrew Tate. Can you do Andrew Tate? Would love to see Andrew Tate. And it just kept having the repetitious cycle on every single thing. And I never put it together until recently. I started seeing like how he's rolling himself out. So these are maybe real people from his Hustles University trying to get me. Not that I have influence, but I'm like, it just now all has that flavor. I'm like, all those comments were from people like with an agenda to get the Andrew Tate brand out there. Anyway, I started doing it.
Gross.
I started doing it because I found the funny and I started seeing him everywhere.
Has it been doing well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people, but a lot of people like been waiting for this one. So I'm not sure if it's like real or not. And I'm not sure if that's my little conspiracy. Like, were these all like part of the
That
program?
makes sense.
But anyway, he's like figure out how to be all over the internet. But then he also goes on these like all women podcasts and says, a life without children is vapiest, meaningless, and women deserve to be alone the rest of their life. My grandmother had 75 children. Okay, no one give a shit about her career. And then it is misogyny, and that's not like a social justicey thing. It just is. And he's proud of it. He's like, what's controversial about that? People in the West, they get all worked up. Let me tell you something. A Russian woman, a Romanian woman, they know their role, they know their place, and they're happy to be a part of it. If I go out in the dark and there's a strange sound coming in, who's going to fight for it? Me. I'm going to go out there and risk my life and limb. So that means when I come home, you make me a sandwich. You know.
I don't even hear misogyny. I just hear algorithm. Like he figured out how to game the algorithms of like, what can I say that I will get served to a nicher, more engaged audience.
Yeah, but there's a part of me that also thinks he does believe it, but I don't know. Here's the thing.
Guys like
Jordan,
doesn't believe anything.
Guys like Jordan Peterson and these people spend an awful lot of time and nuance explaining the difference between data and social differences and temperament. That isn't misogyny. It's just the difference in temperament between men and women, and that it's not that one is superior or inferior. We're just talking about sociological issues. Whereas Andrew Tate's like, no, women can't drive.
Right. Oh, because he's smart. He's like,
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson would do better if he just said the thing.
Whatever. Or you know, what he's doing is the low-hanging fruit a little bit in this way of like, that one gets the most clicks. I'm going to give them what they want, and I'm going to own it. And you can't, and I don't care.
Yeah. Wonder where a guy like that goes. Where do you go from there?
So now, like, he's like inserting himself into the culture. I mean, it's fascinating. It's a fascinating thing to watch a guy insert himself into the culture and make rounds on. He's been on Full Send. Yeah. He's been on Your Mom's House in the podcast circuit. Andrew Schultz mentioned him. He's like, I keep seeing this guy, Andrew Tate, all over my feed. I can't get rid of it. I don't understand. I'm scrolling. Because he was talking to Tom Segura because he was promoting his special. Yeah. And he was like, he did one thing with you guys, and he's on my feed every time. What did you do? And they're like laughing about it, and they love him. They're like Segura and his wife and Christina are like, so what's wrong with bitches? You know, she's like, bitches, and he's like indulging with them and stuff. But he's inserted himself, and I think now there's like this talk of Jake Paul challenging him to a fight.
You know what's funny? Like the whole narrative of gatekeeper that our scene of like the Segura, Schultz, like that Tim Dillon, they all talk about of like, if you want to be inserted into mainstream culture, you go on CNN, MSNBC, SNL, blah, blah, blah. They are now becoming a little bit of a gatekeeper where if someone wants to insert themselves into the sort of independent media ecosystem, you just go on 10 podcasts and you get Jake Paul to mention you and you're inserted.
Yeah,
like,
but
they are the gatekeepers now.
They're not gatekeepers. They're because they're just commenting on it, on this like new, you know, like it's like the Andrew Tate has become like the Mr. Smith of the Matrix, where like somebody's just multiplying everywhere through this Matrix. Even though he talks about the Matrix, like I'm out of the Matrix because I opted out of the Matrix. He says that all the time. He says a lot of crazy things.
But that's a little bit like.
In other words, they're not saying he doesn't deserve to be here. They're just saying where did he come from?
But by commenting on him, they're giving him the attention that he's looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they're just like, what's going on here?
Right.
Somebody just showed up, and where has he come from? So
I know what they're doing, but I guess he figured out a little bit that there is a new gatekeeper. If I can get these people to comment on me, I'm in.
Sure.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying they're actively gatekeeping. I don't think they are, but they're in the position to do so if they so chose.
Tastemakers. There are new tastemakers.
Not to keep someone out, but to let someone in, I should say.
Right. They're the new tastemakers, the new trendsetters. These are the people like basically navigating and determining culture a little bit. And he knew that.
Yeah.
He's targeting them, and now he's
Yeah.
on Full Send, and he's on
And
these podcasts.
I only say that because I wish we had done it first.
What do you want to say? What do
I
you
don't know.
wanna say?
Let's find something. How would we do that if we wanted to do it? How would we insert ourselves into the culture, this culture? If we really wanted to make a splash, what would we do?
Do you want to have Richard Spencer on?
No. No. As our own personalities. Well, I guess maybe not.
We're
Like,
not that. We're not. We're pretty reasonable people.
no, I know,
What can I
but
tell
but
you?
what would we have to do to get the attention we so crave?
I love how your mind works. You're such a whore. I don't know what we'd have to do. We'd have to
Well,
take
I mean, it's
controversial.
interesting because he's like, he has what we want in a sense. Like, not long term, but he has the views that we would like. We would like 1 million views on our
I'm
podcast,
telling
wouldn't
you,
we?
it's gonna collapse.
For sure.
It's
For
not
sure.
sustainable. You're too lured by the virality.
Not long term, but he's no. You have to respect someone who can just say, "This is what I want, and I'm gonna go for it."
Yeah,
It's not a good long term strategy, but there's something you have
something
to
to be
respect
learned.
about
There's
that.
something to be learned.
Yeah.
Sure. I don't know how I did it, but I don't have the answer.
Could we accuse Andrew Schultz of doing something
Oh.
awful?
I
He'd be a
would
good person
never-
to glob onto right now.
I hear you, but at the same time, all you have is your integrity, Michael. Trust me.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that's the path forward, but we should consider it.
Right.
Or would there be a way to do it like
With a-
quickly and like sustainably? What would you do? It's a good thought exercise.
Michael is. Oh, this is the
What
the
would
villain
you
story,
do?
origin story,
What would
Michael,
you
of you as
do?
an evil man.
If you want, if someone said to you, this is a good challenge.
Okay.
You have 30 days to get on Joe Rogan.
Mm,
You have 90 days to
That's a-
get yourself on Joe Rogan.
now we're talking.
How do you do it? This is what I'm talking about. How do you do it? He chose a pretty good way. Get everyone in Joe Rogan's universe to talk about him and like be mildly interesting. There's a chance he won't invite him on, but he's in. We're not in the conversation of who's going to be on Joe Rogan next. He's in the
Yeah, but
conversation.
you know what? You're seeing.
It's a no, but
you're
he's in the
seeing-
conversation.
How do you know how long the game was? He could have been playing this for years.
Sure, whatever it is.
So to us,
whatever
it looks
is.
insanely fast, like he's like exploding onto the scene.
Yeah.
But he's probably been building up this base
Sure,
and
sure.
this university, and he fought
Right.
for 4 years, and he cultivated. I don't know if it was that he's making it seem like I made a decision a month ago, and here I am. It's never
No,
like
not a
that.
month. But even so, even if someone said to you, "What would you do to get on Joe Rogan?" Within 90 days. This is more
I
interesting.
hate
Within
to
90
say
days.
it, and it sounds so cheesy.
Yeah.
But I think Joe Rogan's thinking, what does he have to do to get down here? No, it sounds cheesy, but the idea of like trying to fast
Can you
track
imagine if
any
he was
of the
sitting on this couch?
we need to update. We know we need to update the studio, guys. It looks like balls. It was like oil stains.
What
From
if
the back of our hair.
he's like, this guy Ben Vago tweeted me your video. I fucking loved it. I said, how do I get on their show?
Guys, this is great. Great.
How do I get on the show, man?
I get on the show, man. I don't look at it that way. It's more like,
No, I know.
how do you
but
get on
it's a
Joe
thought
Rogan if like you
exercise.
I don't think I don't like to pedestal those kinds of achievements. It's more about like I want to build up enough of a presence of good quality work
Here's what
that
I'm
I get
saying.
that recognition comes.
You're thinking of it like an
Si-
achievement, and this guy is thinking of it
I'm
as,
take-
as a game, and he's not.
Yeah, but
he's
I'm
not wrong, and you're not wrong.
No, but I'm taking you too seriously in your question. I'm trying
Yeah,
to
you know, you are, you
and
are.
trying to answer genuinely, which is a mistake.
Yeah.
But you mentioned something. It was related to if you had 30 days, but then after that, I don't remember.
He's in the conversation, and we're not.
Yeah, he's in the conversation.
It's not a month-long game.
I don't know. Yeah, like this whole like
Yeah.
how do you get there in 30 days kind of thing to me is kind of.
Tell you what I would do. No,
Do you actually have an idea? We're not being serious.
no, but I would seriously like to think about it and come back with an answer next week. If no, oh, you know what? And maybe it's a good idea for a screenplay. You know those movies where like their daughter needs a heart operation and their house is being foreclosed, so they show up to a bank with a shotgun and hold it hostage until they get the news to come and get the attention they need for their daughter's heart operation. What if someone was getting their house foreclosed on, their daughter needs an operation, and they go, I have to get on Joe Rogan to get the attention I need? Like what would you do in that bank heist thing? How do we get into the Joe Rogan studio and get on the air?
Violently?
It's an interesting
I'm
story.
sure the security is very hard.
It's a
to
story.
infiltrate.
Well, yeah, because he has like Navy SEALs like patrolling.
But this
and
whole
working out there.
no offense to you, it just
Yeah.
feels so cringy.
It's cringy, but there's something real there where Joe Rogan likes to pretend like he's just a dude. Whatever. No, he doesn't like to pretend. His attitude is I'm just a dude having interesting conversations, but he's also, if someone has a message that they want broadcast to the world, he may be the best place to go.
You're right
to
about
spend 3
that, but I
hours
just
somewhere.
think this whole
That's the heart of
whole
it.
mindset of like how do you get to these places of prominence is by not thinking like that.
No, obviously.
Thinking like that is the exact way not to get on those
Obviously,
shows.
it seems like Tate has thought a little bit like that, and it has worked.
Seems that way, and that's him fooling you. That's what I would say.
Fair enough.
He has fooled you into thinking I have to just be calculated enough to say the right things and trick, like it's all some trick.
Mhm.
And I think his savvy and his genius or whatever isn't that. It's making you think it's that. That's my position.
I would maybe take a hot air balloon. I would live in a hot air balloon for on the 60th day. I'd email Joe Rogan and be like, "Hey, bro, I've been living in a hot air balloon for 60 days. Want to talk to me?" That'd be one way.
Right.
Something like that.
But again, now you're talking about
and then
like
I get
real,
on there and have nothing to say.
now you're talking about like real commitment to some sort of stunt. I don't know.
Yeah.
There was chatter on TikTok of this one creator who like created a whole video. Dear Lauren Michaels, I want to be on SNL. Did you see that at all?
No.
And there's like debate going on because some people are like bullying him, like this is so pathetic, dude. What are you doing? And some people are like, no, he's good for you. This is how you make it. I just am very over that romanticized view of Hollywood discoverability. That all I did was make that one thing, and I got the green light from someone else, and they let me in, and the magic just happened. I think that's just not how it is.
Yeah.
And I know we're being funny, but I didn't get to VCon by saying, how do I get to VCon? Okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
So I've had little examples of it in my life that teach me that it's like playing the long game and doing the things that we've been doing is how those things start to happen.
No, the point I'm
So I'm being serious and genuine,
Yeah.
and you're still on this road of wanting to kidnap Joe. What do you want to do?
kidnapping him. I think we'd
He's too
end
strong.
up dead. We'd end up dead.
Yeah.
He would strangle both of us with both his hands
Oh
just at once.
Gorilla fingers.
Oh yeah, I killed 2 dudes over the weekend.
Yeah, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, 2 podcasters. I killed them. Fucking killed them. I felt nothing, man. I felt nothing. Yes, I still have fun, and I love stories like this because it's a thing
It's a
of
part of your
like,
brain. I don't shit. I don't have the
someone
same.
could do it. I think there is a screenplay to be written though of the heart of what I'm saying though is rethinking the bank and the broadcast TV news station as the thing you have to take over to get heard by the world. Like rethinking of like there's a new paradigm of if you want to get heard, there's another heist movie. There's another way to do it. That's what I love about it.
And you like the idea of highlighting where the center of cultural attention
Yeah,
is
yeah.
in the form of a heist movie.
Well, yeah,
So it's not a bank or a news
that would
station.
be
It's
the
somebody who
vehicle.
breaks into the Joe Rogan studio
Yeah.
and says, I'm here.
Yeah,
problem
yeah.
is Jamie
interview me for 3 hours with a gun, like pointing a gun at him. That would be so funny.
And then Jamie has to upload it.
Right. Well, no, Jamie's the one who like figures out how to like escape and call the police.
I can't wait till you make it, Michael. What's stopping you?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I should write it. It wouldn't.
I've been getting your newsletter. I haven't been reading
Well,
it, but I've been getting it.
Hey, that's the first step.
Yeah.
I got good feedback this week on the story. What's stopping me? You know what my gut tells me? It would be I don't know. I mean, I keep coming to the same place with these things anyway. Of like I'd write it, it'd be good, people would like it, and then there would be like just some sort of like industry sort of thing where like it just doesn't move forward. That could be made independently though. That's a good idea, and I'm gonna keep thinking about it.
Good.
It's a good idea. I'm gonna keep thinking about
Writing it's the first accomplishment. So whatever happens with it, you've made something.
it.
So
Yeah, true.
that's what you should aim to do.
True.
And then you write enough crap. Crap is the best fertilizer.
True. True. There's a guy now. Their show Alone. I don't know if our time is up soon, but have you
Mm.
seen the show Alone? Maybe we can end
I
it. Amazing show. Have you
Mhm.
heard of it? Do you know what it is?
Yes, sort of. I don't know what it's about, but I
Well,
know the name, and that's it.
because of everything we've been talking about, I'm watching this new season very differently. They send 10 people to a wild
Oh, it's
location.
on Netflix, and the
The new,
survivor wins. I have
yeah,
watched it.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah. So what?
I couldn't last. It was so I fell asleep in every episode.
So I watch it as like yeah, it's a super like um yeah, I watch it on my own when I have to kill 10 minutes at a time. It's
Is that a
just like
squirrel?
yeah, so 10 people go out to the wilderness and they have to survive alone. They get cameras and everything and they tape themselves.
Yeah.
And then the person to last the longest wins. There's no time limit. It could last 10 years. But it's wild to see everyone has the set of survival skills they need for the most part. The difference is attitude and its response to failure is the difference between winner and loser. It's really wild to watch. Like people who fail,
Some people get physically ill and they have to get
yeah,
medevaced.
there's that's pretty rare. It's mostly like I failed and now I'm gonna rethink why I'm here and I'm deciding it's not worth it, I'm gonna go home. Or like people fail and they get so just so not depressed, they get so frustrated or so down on themselves that they just find some reason to go to tap out. They're just like I'm down. But the people who succeed are like there's this guy actually. I want to see if we can get him on the podcast. He didn't win the season, so he's probably not like a big deal. But he
Well,
had
that's a way to get somebody on the podcast. Hope you just watched that.
well, he's not like in huge demand, probably.
Understood. Yeah.
But he was so inspiring. Of just like he would have these big failures and just like respond with like, great. Now I know exactly what not to do when I try this again.
I saw
And
the
it
guy.
was great. It was really really moving. I found.
One of the guys in one of the seasons. I only watched like one season of it.
You watched the whole season?
No,
Episode.
but Rosie did, and she told me the end of the guy who won. She's like, the guy who won was just the guy who was like, anyway, oh hey, he was so chill.
The people who win are nuts.
And they're just like, he's there. He's got no weight left, so they picked him up. He's like, he's burned his whole body.
Yeah.
All the calories are gone.
Yeah.
And he was just like, he like killed a whole moose.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, that was good. Oh shoot, it spoiled. Oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah. It's this.
Oh wait, I won. Oh cool. How long's it been? 4 months. Oh okay, ready.
It's crazy. It's so funny. And the people who think too much, the people who have families, always end up going home
I
because they're
haven't
like,
seen you in so long, and I miss
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Wussies.
yeah.
I could do it. I could do it.
It's quite really.
Just take some tradition soup. Why is that so hard? Just pack your bag with some ramen noodles. Easy.
Yeah. That's funny.
Um,
You should watch it though.
it's
I'll
impressive
send
that
you
they
an
like
episode.
hollow out. They can have weapons with them. They have like a bow and
They have
arrow. They
knives.
pick.
Yeah, they have like saws.
It's pretty cool. I mean, would you
Yeah.
rather be in a hot like island desert or cold?
I'd rather be cold.
Yeah, of course we talked about this.
Yeah.
That's full circle back to the winter. Yeah, but imagine like you need fire not only to eat but like to stay physically warm. Wouldn't it be so easy to be like in a tropical
But
climate?
dehydration is so
Unpleasant.
awful.
Yeah.
I'd rather freeze.
Right,
I
nice and
think.
cozy in a hoodie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hear that too, but like I just like that whole like
Yeah.
trying to like cut with a rock with your hands outside.
Yeah, yeah,
Ooh,
yeah.
that sounds unpleasant.
Yeah. But I've been thinking about it with writing, especially of like truly like just to last longer than other people in the industry,
Mhm.
you just have to find. It's what we talk about here. It's like I think you're very good at this. You're very gifted with this. You have to find. Yeah, you have to find an you have to cultivate an attitude that allows you to fail longer than everyone else until you figure it out.
And you're saying I'm good at failing?
You're good at you're good at adapting and not getting withdrawn,
Hung up?
hung up, or
discouraged.
discouraged. You're good at not getting discouraged,
right.
or not getting discouraged because you can feel discouraged, but of using it and staying focused and moving forward and adapting, like what Jeremy talks about.
Right.
And it's something I've like since we started the podcast, I've been really thinking a lot about
good.
and need to cultivate more and more and more.
On that note, I've been doing more stand up
Mm-hmm.
more regularly, and this is call it a self-congratulatory pat on the back moment a little bit, but not really, because I can't break out of my first like 10 minutes, and I can't tell strategically what the best move is. Like keep doing the first 10 minutes until it's insanely tight, or keep trying out new material. So that's a technical challenge of like early stand-up days. But I will say, the other week, I was sitting in the green room at the stand after doing a set upstairs with Mark Norman and Joe Liss hanging out, and both of them were about to go on. So like everyone's in their own headspace thinking about their bits and stuff like that. But I sat there for a moment, and I just took that moment to say, I'm sitting here. I sort of call it manifest, envisioned like what it would be like to get into the stand-up world. But it was a weird moment because if I had seen this moment looking ahead a year ago, I would have been stoked beyond belief. Like, remember when David was on and he was like, when the song was in the movie, in that moment, I was like, oh, I felt nothing. Everything leading up to it was, so for me, I'm like, okay. I felt like content and like, I felt proud and content, but not like over the hill, and not a disproportionate way. But if I had like seen this moment a year ago, I'd have been like, what the hell? How did I get there? And it's just an interesting thing to think about. Like when the things actually happen, it's like a humbling sort of experience. It's like, okay, like I'm in this grind. I'm in this world. But I used it as an opportunity to just reflect a little bit. It's like, hey, say what you want. I just did his comedy set. I just did 10 minutes upstairs, 8 minutes upstairs, whatever. And now I'm here in the green room which is restricted for comics only. It's just, it was a victory against the imposter syndrome of it all.
And then something to say to yourself is also like, a year ago when you wanted the thing, you couldn't have handled it. You couldn't have handled being in the room. Like, let's say like I want an Oscar right now or whatever. Like if someone just handed me an Oscar, it would like destroy me. I would like disintegrate. What you need to do is make the movie earn the Oscar, and then you can actually handle the thing. Like you have to do all those sets, go through all that like shitty open mic stuff, and then you're sitting in the room with them, and like you're not freaking out, and you're not like, I don't belong here, I should say something weird, I should make a joke or whatever it is. Like,
no, exactly.
Yeah, I'm here. And like you have the vessels for that.
I think that's what it is. It's like, and also whenever I used to tell you if something was going on the music side, you'd be like, well, you would like ask me, was it the craziest thing ever? I'm like, no, it was just kind of ordinary in a good way. And that was sort of how I was starting to feel. Now, obviously, and like I've been just doing more stuff, and I kind of like tapping into that scene. So I'm happy about that. I wish I was doing even more of it and feeling more comfortable. Like the shows themselves are fun, the sets when you do them, but the prep and stuff is still is part of this grind. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm really impressed that you keep showing up to these open mics.
I've texted you pictures. I'm like, whoo!
Yeah, when I'm like in bed going to sleep, you're like, I'm at an open mic in Brooklyn. I'm like, damn, I don't have that.
I'm not sure if it's the right decision, but or if it's the way to do it. But at least for now,
I'm impressed that you're trying so hard.
Yeah,
I'm impressed that you're trying so hard.
I guess I am. I don't know.
I think that's hard. I think
you're always knowing if you're putting it, like if you're not being paid. It's a question of, are you working hard enough, or are you just not being patient enough? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm writing all the time, and I'm doing. Yeah, I guess I am. It is hard.
It's hard to get in the car and drive.
Yeah, I am. I am working hard at it, trying to do it.
It's work.
It is.
I'm trying. Yeah. Last thing, maybe, and then we'll wrap up. Is like when I'm working out now. Also, like I realize you don't start working out until you want to get off the elliptical. Like once you want to get off, then however longer much you go, that's working out. Like work is like, I don't feel like writing. I don't feel like going to an open mic. Like, but you get in the car and go. That's work. That's 100%. Like what professionals do.
They asked Jocko Willink. You know Willink? Jocko?
Willink.
I don't want to get his name wrong. He's terrifying. Asked him like, how do you... I want to make sure my mic is working. Hello. Okay. They said in an interview, I think it was Chris Williamson's, like, so how do you stay motivated to like do what you do, and like like he's like, the answer is, or like, how do you stay in shape and stay like healthy and all these things? The answer is when the alarm clock goes off in the morning, I get out of bed and I start getting to work and doing the things I have to do, because that's what I have to do. It has nothing to do with how I feel. I don't care how I feel about it, whether I want to do it, whether I don't want to do it. I get up, the alarm goes off, and I wake up and I start my day and I do the things I have to do. I don't care how I feel about them. It's what I have to do, and that's how I live my life. And it was just, I mean, it's obvious. He's like, that's the answer. He's a savage.
Yeah.
But he was just like, has nothing to do with how you feel about any of it. Yeah. It's, you have to do those things.
I saw this documentary about And One. Remember those And One shorts and shirts? Yeah. There's a documentary about them on ESPN, and by the end of it, they're interviewing NBA players talking about why did no one from And One, all those awesome street ball videos and the trick videos, why did none of them, could any of them have played in the NBA? And across the board, all the NBA players, they laughed and went, nah, like they can't play in the NBA. They went, we play basketball on days we don't feel like playing basketball because
Right.
we're professional basketball players.
Right.
Those guys don't.
Is there a reason?
And
Is there a reason you just blackened up your voice significantly, Michael?
They were all black. Yeah.
Yes, they were saying the hard work part of it, not the fun, not the glitz and glam, the
Yeah,
unpleasant.
you show up to work. I mean, and that's like, I mean, even as a writer, I'm still like, I'm much better at than I used to be.
Right.
But like, even so, I still have a lot of work to do to like be writing for an extra 2-3 hours a day. Where like, you know, I don't want to, but yeah.
I guess you're right. I guess that's me at the open mic working shit out, late, exhausted, waiting out an entire slew of like people's time so I could get up there and try 5 to 7 minutes of material. And I don't want to do it.
Mhm.
And that's what the basketball player is saying.
Yeah.
We do comedy even when we don't want to do comedy.
Yeah.
Or anything.
Well, it's different because you're not getting paid for it.
Well,
but
they didn't for years
Yeah,
to get that good.
No, I'm just joking.
No, eventually I will be, but in
Yeah.
order to get there,
Yeah.
it's like
Right. Yeah. To become a professional, you have to act like a professional. Right.
right.
Right. I have to. Right.
People talked about Kobe. It's like, man,
Yeah.
I'd say I'm going to show up early today. I want to show up, and I'd get to the gym super early, and Kobe's been there for a half hour, and he's already sweating.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man,
Yeah. I could write this Joe Rogan podcast heist movie if I worked for an extra 2 to 3 hours a night
mm-hmm.
when I'm tired and I don't feel like it. It would probably be shitty. Like the writing probably wouldn't be very good. Because I think it's a little bit different than comedy in that way. But yeah, I mean, that's the answer. How do I write it? I stay up an extra 2 hours and write it.
And on the flip side of all of it, you have like the Tim Ferriss model of like, you don't have to work in an unpleasant or uncomfortable way. Everything can be fluid and easy. There is this whole other narrative out there that is also a success narrative, which is like, if you set yourself up correctly and do an hour of work a week, you can get more done than people who put in 75.
Well, he's right in the sense of like, if you zone in for 2 to 3 hours of incredible, brilliant writing, that screenplay is going to be more valuable than a mediocre screenplay you stayed up till midnight trying to write.
Right. But
I
you
mean,
can
he's
see
right. He's kind of right.
But you can see why that advice is dangerous. It's like, well, is the way to success to work 20 hours or work 2 hours effectively?
I'm finding my way more towards the Jocko
Mhm.
and less from Tim Ferriss, where I was like, like
I'm the opposite.
hours.
See, I'm finding my way more towards the Tim Ferriss,
yeah.
where it's like, you know what? If I just get up a little bit early and like do a nice hour, like I get more done then than when I'm like, when it's 2 a.m. and I'm like, I need to be doing this for the sake of doing this because this is what it takes to be successful.
Right.
Back in the early days, I was like every slave hour I could. And now I'm more about like, if I don't have balance, I'm also not successful.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Which is why like when I'm at the open mic and I'm like, oh,
Right.
I don't know. Maybe there's a different
Well,
way.
the balance is if you can't get up the next morning to do the good hour,
You got to
then
be
you're
functional.
Not, you're
yes.
not working right.
Yes. Well, we caught up.
With nothing to talk about.
nothing to talk about.
I got a pretty good
Comment
session there.
on the videos, guys. Let us know what you'd like us to cover because we cover everything from world events, politics, entertainment, culture, news, religion, spirituality, marriage, parenting, dating, all of it
And
here.
if you don't want Ben Vago on again, let us know,
Yes.
please.
Want to just close on that note?
Give us a call, Joe. We try to get this guy on the podcast. Oh, we got to do the little fingies. Buckle up. Episode 38.
We'll see you soon, Joe Rogan.
Bye.